Well, howdy, y'all. This here's Guardian of Ultima, coming back to you with another video for our UO scams, the only place to go when you are looking for a shard. So today, we're going to be talking about a topic that's near and dear to my heart and my personal experience in this game. That's favoritism. Now, the thing about favoritism is that there's a lot of shards that have had problems with this concept in the past. And one of those is, of course, UO Outlands. So we're going to talk about that again today. Sagas, you know that they were playing favorites with the supposed Reddit admins, harassing me in a channel that they made just for that. I think they eventually deleted that whole channel just to cover that whole mess up. And then also on the menu is we're going to go through Angel Island Siege Perilous. This is the Siege Perilous logo, and these guys, I basically helped them with their wiki, their website, and just got to the point where, you know, it just seemed like there's some favoritism going on or something, right? And on Outlands, you know, in terms of favoritism, I think it started a long time ago, like really early on in the Outland shard in their history. Within the first probably 6 months of the shard's existence. You know, at that time there's a lot of players that are macroing, and game masters don't like to shut down the server at all. Players are doing their macroing, right? So, you know, if they worry that if they shut the server down for anything, that it's going to cause a problem, right? And it's just important to note, because we're going to talk about the Money Guild incident that happened on UO Outlands. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that there's this Owen character. Basically will take you behind closed doors and tell you that you're not contributing enough to the shard or to the community, you know, either of those two things, right? One of the developers there, his name is Lucius, and basically this Money Guild was a PvP guild, and they were engaging in a lot of Outlands, a lot of their PvP stuff. And you know, Outlands, they advertise as professional, hosted professionally, and Felucca server, right? Felucca rule set. But then, you know, if you cast a spell on somebody's pets like invisible, you know, I'd say that's pretty light aggression in terms of the Felucca rule set, right? Lucius is a coder there anyways. He said basically what happened is the Money Guild was doing their faction stuff and trying to get the prestige and using a lot of common tactics that, you know, are questionably not even really against the rules. And it's just kind of part of Felucca, right? It's hard to say. Whatever's against the rules, you know, don't do that. I wouldn't say Money Guild was really breaking any rules. But there's a level of competition that players will engage in. And, you know, Owen basically went around threatening this guild. He was gonna ban the whole guild if just a few of the members didn't leave the shard, right? One of the tactics that the Money Guild was using was that they had extra characters ready to go in the dungeons in case their main characters died. So they were already logged in, hidden in the dungeon somewhere, ready to go. And, you know, they're just being competitive, right? There's bosses in these dungeons that are huge. And this guild had just come from another server where they were doing a lot of these group activities and in a very competitive manner, right? So apparently that didn't sit very well with Owen, because his buddies are in this other guild. Maybe it's the Wreck Guild, I can't remember, but you know, he's in the dungeon and he's kicking the Money Guild characters out. Those extra characters that they had were ending up in jail or banned in some cases or kicked off out of the dungeon, right? And that's just not how you do things if you're hosting professionally, right? You're gonna, shut down the server, give people a warning it's gonna be shutting down for a few minutes so it doesn't wreck their macroing, right? And you're gonna change whatever you want while the server's down, and then the server comes up and there's patch notes, and that's how it works. You don't just interfere in the PvP like that, abusing staff authority, right? So that's what Owen was doing to the Money Guild, and here's Luthieus, basically. He came to say his part in this news channel that the leader of the Money Guild created, right? In order to spread the word about what was going on behind those closed doors, right? Now, Luthieus is coming to Owen's defense, as usual, in this news channel, and this is what he says. He says, okay, here's the thing. Like I said, I don't do admin stuff, and I don't make the decisions on player things. But Owen had his reasons, right? I think what he means when he says that is that Owen is friends with those guys. That's why he had his reasons, right? That's what Owen's stake in this matter really is, right? And I think that's what Luthieus is trying to say here. Hence the phrase favoritism, right? I will say that for the last 6 months, I've personally watched you guys. This is the guy that he'll just be on your boat when you're out for a boat ride and you can't dry dock it because the invisible GM's standing on there. Mountains, okay, he says, not stocking hat, and gotten mountains of people sending screenshots and videos of you guys pushing the limits in a number of detrimental facets, right? Not seeing any rule violations here yet. Using AFK scouts, using multi-client characters for PvP, etc. They might have an AFK character reading journal entries, right? Mostly gray area stuff, right? Usually, when they're talking about multi-client characters in PvP, typically the rule is, you're not allowed to move 2 characters at a time, right? And I've never seen any video evidence of any of these guys doing 2 character at a time movements, and I played on shards with them beforehand, so I'm pretty sure that what's going on at this point in time is that there just aren't any rules against having extra characters in dungeons. So they added those later after they already took these actions of kicking these characters out of the dungeons. And that's what caused this drama, right? Here's the real problem. You guys have been so dead focused on getting prestige and being the top server. I think he means guild, but right? It's a Freudian slip, I think. The top server, the top guild, without caring about how you did it, right? And how it affects server health. You kind of lose the benefit of the doubt in my mind over this. I just think it's hilarious because he actually used the word server, so dead focused on being the top server that without caring about how they do it with the false advertising stuff and how it affects the community health, you kind of lose the benefit of the doubt in my mind over this, right? So that's just kind of funny. You're playing a free server. Okay, here it is. It's a free server, right? It's just heavily monetized with donation currency and everything, and they're asking players for, if they want to keep playing the game, you're not violating any rules, but if you want to keep playing, you have to contribute more, right? So take it with a grain of salt when he says free server, right? You're playing a free server that we put tons of time and effort into, and you're a guest here, so if you act like an asshole, either in Discord or in game, it's technically within our rights to ask you to leave. That's not really how banning works, right? You ban them. It's not really that you're asking, you're just doing it, right? Uh, Again, I don't make the decision, but a number of Money Guild members have, over the course of 6 months, given us more than enough reason to ban them, purely for their actions alone. Even not counting the reward exploit. Okay, so this reward exploit, I guess some of the characters in the guild were tricking out, abusing the achievement system by creating new accounts, new characters, and just doing the bare minimum of achievements to get some really high value items. It was kind of a, oversight on the staff's part that players could easily do this. And so I think what happened was it was the leader of the Money Guild who actually brought it to their attention. I really think that they just weren't really doing this in a way that was so game breaking that action would be taken or should have been taken. But, the guild master basically brought it to their attention, right? And this is who they're asking to leave. So he's the one that brought it to their attention in the first place. And, it's kind of minor anyways, right? But they're saying that's more than enough reason for ban, right? And why not just ban them at that point in time? Like, when they're doing the stuff that's bannable, right? Why wouldn't you do that? So, the very fact that the first thing that you guys did is create a channel whose sole purpose was to try and hurt the server in retaliation for what you believe was wrong shows that you honestly don't care about the server, even for the members of Money who are still playing here and enjoy it. It's just victim blaming, right? It's just terrible, right? I don't know why. It's the money or something, right? Somebody in the comments on one of my videos mentions, this guy's making a lot of money on a bunch of different servers. And I guess it doesn't really surprise me. That only makes sense that somebody would be making money that said something like this, I think. So, that's just funny, this whole Freudian slip. It's perfect the way that worked out. But, I just wish people would care more about the game, more about the server, than they do about their buddies, right? When it comes to this favoritism stuff, a lot of it is about, it leaves a terrible taste in people's mouths, and something I really think we should tackle as a community going forward. So next, I'm going to talk about the Siege Perilous server and my role in its creation. I basically helped them with their website and their wiki, and you might notice that the website looks a little bit familiar, right? It's basically the same site that I use for the background in these videos. It's CSS and JavaScript, and I learned how to code just to make this site, create this landing page for Siege Perilous. And it just kind of as you go through it, it kind of shows the differences between the two servers and explains a gargoyle event that Adam created, and the rule set we were using, Angel Island was a custom server, so it's just kind of to demonstrate to the players of the server what the differences are between these two shards that they can now log into. Right? So I'm viewing in Chrome right now. It's not really the best way to view this site because it has a lot of large images. Firefox is better at handling this kind of stuff. I made this website for 8K quality, and it was about 2 weeks away. It's HD right now on their site. I think there's some problems with the smooth movement of the clouds and stuff on the current build, but I fixed it for the background. But it had a bunch of information on the site about that gargoyle event that Adam made, and so it was me, Adam, yours, another developer. Those guys code. Rexor's the community manager. There was Snafu, who was an event master on Angel Island. I had originally come to Siege Perilous when it was still just Angel Island. At that point, they just had asked me to do the wiki for them. And so I said, I could definitely help you out with that. I do a lot of game testing and stuff, so I did some work on the wiki for Angel Island. Right before launch, I never did the website for Angel Island. I think it was about a month into Angel Island that my machine had died. I got rain leaked through the roof onto the laptop, and so it died, and so I was never able to make a PvP character in the heyday there, although there wasn't much of a heyday. Apparently there were some players there that I kind of have an idea of who's who in the community just from that, basically. But eventually at the end of 2022, Adam came to me and asked, he needed this information to be out for players to see it. He was at the point where he was basically ready, he said. The shard's ready, it's all done, we're all waiting on you, Manfred, to finish this wiki and this website. And they came to me and asked me to do that in December of 2022. At that point, I started to work on the wiki, and here's the wiki right here. Back at the time, it was just a huge dump of information, because Angel Island had a lot of custom systems, really custom server. So there's just this huge info dump that we thought maybe it was scaring the players away, right? And that's normal. I've seen that on other faction servers I played. So I wanted to make the wiki look a little bit better. This was supposed to be Siege Perilous was coming up, classic faction server. It's very similar to another faction shard that I play, or a game that I play that's factions, and I like the way that they set up their wiki kind of like this, with image maps and information to make it less of a dump, right? And so, I put a lot of effort into this. I learned how to code basically by reverse engineering the other wiki that I mentioned, and basically 5 or 6 months after December is when we launched. So in that time, I decorated this wiki to look like this, and just to be a little bit less of a dump, right? There's a lot of animations. It's all artwork from the game. I made it all custom. It just took a lot of time, and take a look at this other page. I used art from DeviantArt and added that to the mix. I made some advertisements, some animations and stuff like that. That little menu button in the bottom corner is pretty cool. It's got a page up, page down, main menu and everything is right there. So it's always on screen. And the website, I think it caught a lot of people's attention between the website and this wiki. And they had a really good turnout. I can't remember, 250 or 350 uniques or something like that. It's a really good turnout. It didn't last long. It was a lot of fun to put this wiki together, though. Let's take a look. The world map, a lot of it's not finished. Items isn't finished. One thing I forgot to do is add the champ page. It's a combination of a bunch. I was condensing the wiki to make it less of an info dump at the same time as I was redesigning it. So I took all the seasonal champs, the mini champs, regular champs, all those different pages, and I was merging them into one, and I just forgot to add it to the wiki. It probably would have been the next thing that I did. We'll get into that, though. I got this kind of little bird flying around and stuff in the background, and I did a lot of cool stuff here. I had a lot of fun actually putting together this wiki. we had plans for how to move forward with all the pages and stuff that aren't done, but it didn't come to fruition. A lot of players that came pretty much left immediately. The gameplay wasn't very classic, and had some problems. The map was really vast swaths of land that just had no monsters or anything happening at all on this server. You're just basically running from point A to point B, and there's nothing that you're going to encounter but trees. Everybody has to have majory because you can only gate on the server, right? So, but at the time, the server was very young, and people are just running around this barren map because they had no other choice, and I just thought, it wasn't really well thought out. There's two kind of parts to this. There's me feeling like they had told me a bunch of times that, go, rush, get the wiki done, get the landing page done, all this stuff, right? So work, right? And I also had to learn HTML as well to do it in HTML. WordPress might have been quicker, but I really wanted to do it in HTML anyways. At the time that I started working on this, AI had just been coming out and becoming mainstream, and I really was using a lot of those tools, and it was a good reason to, it was good to have a reason to use those tools at the time, right? To learn these skills. He basically told, there was another guy that Adam asked to make the website, but he couldn't do it, and by the time I had this site pretty much ready, Adam asked me to make a site, and so at the time that I had this pretty much ready, the other guy didn't have anything to show. He was asking all the other staff for graphics and stuff, and he just had nothing, so there was a bit of drama there. But, so Adam decided to use this for the landing page, and at launch, I was looking at the shard, and I was like, I feel like this is kind of false advertising, because in the last month of development, the whole rule set got changed. So orcs came to the server, and it just seemed like there was some favoritism going on for all of the way that everything was set up. It took away from time that needed to be spent building an actual event system to reset up all the the publish. And if you watch the Defiance video, the video about Defiance, excuse me, I just put out in my last video, you'll know that when it comes to a classic server, all the systems have to be set up for PvP. A lot of the events are PvP oriented and everything. But then, aside from the map not being spawned, these guys just didn't really have an event system. It wasn't just that, but I mean, here, take a look at this. If you're thinking about a classic shard, then you're gonna tune onto this guy's stream. You're gonna see him running outside of the field through this. If you look up in the top right corner here, Brit Farm's just right in this area. If you walk through this corridor in the mountain here, the mountain pass, on the other side is the X roads, the Britain crossroads. And there's usually what you'd expect to see is mounted PvPers coming out of the X roads, coming in for this event in Brit Farms, right? But no, that's not what's going to happen. Instead, we get like a group of orcs, and they're coming to play the classic faction server. Oh wait, in the last month of development, they also had factions removed because Adam said they wrote an essay, a huge essay about why they should remove classic factions, and instead of classic factions, they should have the basically broken kin system that Adam had. It had broken notoriety problems, and if you healed somebody who was in kin, notably, you wouldn't really know they're part of kin, but then all of a sudden you'd be trapped in their kin faction system for 24 hours. You'd become factions for 24 hours, and you'd just be stuck. And just for healing someone in town, maybe they're new res at the bank, right? I think they used purple for the factions hue, so it was really hard to tell if your monitor was dark, if they're factions or not, right? And that was a terrible problem. I just felt like Adam wasn't even listening to me about that, trying to get that fixed before he switched. He was like, oh, I don't need to change anything about that, or... Anyways, in this area, there's no guards in this area. So if you're coming to this server because you heard about classic factions, you'd think their first event would be, PvP oriented. At least, as per the shard, like PvP on the shard, mounted PvP. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? But, so this was really awkward. Adam wanted to make special rules for this as well. No corpse looting. No res killing. The rules specifically say that you're going to be allowed to grief these events. So to then all of a sudden make up a rule on the fly that goes against that, it doesn't, it doesn't vibe well with enforcement, right? How are you going to enforce that? If you're trying, professional means avoiding drama, right? But, they also said this was a player ran event. I don't know why they did that, because it's a staff ran event. In terms of false advertising, I was just pretty upset. And, already, though, you can see everyone's lining up here. Eh? They're getting ready to have a little fun event, but it's not the right rule set. I don't know what server they think they're playing, to be honest. I really wasn't very happy about what happened here with this event. So, I wasn't feeling too good about, this whole thing, and I felt a bit betrayed that I did all this work for this certain type of shard and then basically just got changed. They were also telling me, they were ready the whole time, and then I find out at launch that the shard's just completely not ready. The world's not built at all. And so I retaliated. I went and this is a video of me griefing that same event. I bought a bunch of tables and used them to block the entrances to the healer huts where the ghosts, once the players died, they turn into ghosts and then they have to go and res at the healer. So they couldn't get in there, and this is the kind of thing that players will do when they get disenfranchised, and it creates these PK problems like on Outlands, where the PKs are just so harsh and res killing all the time and really taking it out because they feel like they're being disenfranchised, right? That's when they start griefing. So, if the people who think that I'm here trying to say that there should be PKs everywhere, I'm really fighting against that. Like, that's what this is really about, right? It's about health in the community. And, game masters will sometimes really get into these wars with these players who start to do this little bit of griefing and stuff. And it just creates drama for the entire community, right? I'll link this video in the description so that you can watch the whole thing. It's pretty funny, yeah. Alright. So, at launch, I think it was the day after launch, I felt like when Classic Factions was removed and it really just kind of changed the whole shard from this Classic Factions, Classic server to a custom server for these orgs, right? And at the time that Adam did this, he reached out to staff to see what their opinions would be on it, but within, I think, an hour, he just did it. It was pretty clear that it didn't matter what anyone said, he was going to do it anyways. Even afterwards, I think he said, sometimes you just have to act or something. The map also wasn't spawned because Adam didn't really trust people enough to do that. I think that's what Yor mentioned was going to talk to Adam about making him an admin to do some spawning or something, but Adam likes to do the spawning himself, he said. So I don't know. Yeah, but if that's what it took to get it done, to make Yor an admin, it just needed to get done, you know? And I just wasn't too happy about, you know, I guess just what looked like favoritism to me. At that point, I was pretty much done. I told staff the day after launch that I'd still be around, working on the wiki and the website. I just wouldn't be answering my messages as much. You know, my response times wouldn't be as quick. I was going to take a step back and just slowly finish the site and the wiki and play the game and just play normal. And so I think it was the next day, the very next day, day 2, I was killing some monsters, some non-player characters for their clothes in Lord British's castle. And this Dobson character comes up on me. I think he was new res at the time, so he walks up and might have been going to the stables. You know, he saw me gray, saw me poisoning a non-player character, and then left. Then he came back with some gear, maybe a horse. It didn't look like much gear though. He just kind of stood there for a little while. I had nothing on me but some nightshade, so there was nothing I could do if he wanted to attack me. If he wanted to attack me that time, he probably just could have killed me because I had nothing on. And I think, oh, he left again. Yeah, that's right. He left again, and it took a little while, and then he came back, totally loaded this time. He had all his equipment this time. Might have been trying to call for some help or something, and that's what took him so long to decide to attack me. But finally, he attacks me, and you know, I really just can't get away from him at all. And my ping is really low, so it didn't really make a lot of sense. You know, I couldn't move away from him even one tile. He's on a macer, and every hit is reducing my stamina, so I'm trying to get away from him so I can at least keep moving. And I can't get away from him at all. It's because he's obviously cheating. He's speed hacking. And speed hacking is when players will use different clients or whatnot, certain options they can use to make their character move faster. And there's different programs. Some of them send more, you know, movement packets forward. Some of them, you know, some of these clients can change it so that your character turns faster, because there's a rate of time that it takes for your character to turn by the default, and that can be changed. So, you know, I mentioned it to Yor, and we went and looked into it and started testing the speed hack mitigation that night. And so we were looking into that, and you know, I think it was the next day in chat, I had seen Snafu in the chat, the staff chat. Didn't really like him very much. He didn't seem to do very much work, and he hadn't really done anything. You know, I was concerned about him doing any of the advertising he wanted to do. You know, he was going to robo-DM people in Outlands Discord. That was his whole... I was like, what do you even do here? You know, I knew he was friends with Dobson, and about a month before launch, he was like, well, yeah, we could send the robo DMs to all the players in Outlands channel, heh. You know, because Adam was asking for money for Google ads. And Snafu mentioned that he could robo DM players in other shards discords, right? It's the exact problem that we had for Angel Island. I guess what happened was, this is how I became staff on Angel Island. There was somebody called Chill, I think it was an Outlands player, and he was doing just that. He was doing the robo DMing of people in Outlands Discord channel, and it created a bunch of drama. I guess there was a big campaign of hate for Angel Island for that reason, right? And because of that, it definitely affected the Shard. Chill left the Shard one way or the other, or, was gracefully exited. And that's when they asked if I could do anything for the wiki. I had just been starting a little PvP stream there or something. On mobile, I think. And whether chill is snafu, I don't really know. But it stands to reason, at least, he should know better, right? Like, I'm pretty sure he was around in the community at the time that Angel Island launched, so he didn't become staff until a few months after Angel Island launched, so maybe he just doesn't remember how much drama that caused for the Shard, but, I showed you, I was putting a lot of work in, right? The wiki, the website. This guy's not really doing a lot of work. I was worried about maybe he's a threat to the Shard. And then, with the Dobson incident, I was just like, Jesus, I just wondered if these guys even cared about Adamant or the Shard at all, right? And I even mentioned it to Yor, like when this guy was talking about robo DMs. I'm like, right on, yeah. He's like, yeah, that's great. Right, so I wasn't a big fan of this guy, and after that I was trying to, nudge him to do more work. That was pretty much it. And it never went anywhere, right? There was also Armor Axe, who became staff within the last month before launch. I was just like, who are you exactly? I never said anything to him though, but I think he said something about Dobson to Snafu in the staff chat, indicating that they're all kind of friends or something. I don't know what was going on there, but I saw that they mentioned Dobson in the staff chat, and the staff chat is a channel which is just for staff only. It's a private channel just for staff, so public can't see it. I mentioned it to Yor right away, and when I saw them mentioning Dobson in the staff chat, I was just like, I'm surprised that guy's not sitting in jail. Like, after I caught him speed hacking last night, right? So I don't see why it would be a problem to say something in the staff chat about that, but Adam didn't like it very much. He was upset because he wanted it to be taken to private messages. He kind of mentioned that after Armor Axe. He blew up at me for saying anything about Dobson deserving to be in jail. He was like, Dobson would never cheat. And by the way, I don't cheat either. Which I thought was weird, right? Like, why would you say that? Nobody's accusing you of doing anything. I just said Dobson, right? So I thought that was a little weird. And I basically just told him to shut it, because I know what I saw, right? Like, what's the point in saying he doesn't speed hack now? Because you just sound like an idiot now, right? And I didn't say that. I just told him to shut it, and that was it. And he said it was unprofessional, and he left the channel, and okay. So you just became staff here. You haven't done anything here. But I think Yor mentioned this is somebody that Adamant has been friends with for like 10 years, right? So while we're on the subject of favoritism, right? Adam is all of a sudden, what's more important is that I didn't bring it up to him in private messages. And he put it on me that Armor Axe left. And, sure enough, this is what happened. Rexor, if you remember, she's a community manager. She comes and says, was Dobson speed hacking in Vesper? After I mentioned that in staff chat that he was speeding. Adam was saying he was upset that I didn't bring this up in private messages, but then she came to me and said, was Dobson speed hacking in Vesper? I said, but I was in Lord Bright's castle, so I was like, why do you ask? And she's just like, hey, I think I saw that Armor Axe guy, right? I think English is a second language here. That might not be why she misspelled Armor Axe like this, but just keep that in mind. She said, I think I saw that Armor Axe guy, him and Armor Axe guy in Vesper yesterday, abusing the AI to kill gargoyles, and they were both moving faster on horses or something, right? I think she's just basically saying, she saw these guys moving around or something, right? Moving fast, killing these gargoyles in Vesper, right? So it's like, okay, I appreciate you bringing that to me, right? It makes sense that, I think it kind of helped make sense why Armorax would say that he also doesn't cheat if he knew another staff member caught him speed hacking, or maybe even, it sounds like maybe even attacked by them speed hacking. So, you know, go around speed hacking on day 2 and kill 2 staff members. I guess that would be why they almost seem to want to talk about Dobson in staff chat for some reason, right? So that could explain a lot, right? And to me, I'm thinking, okay, this doesn't look good. I was basically talking to Adam about getting rid of Snafu and Armorax and, you know, being more cautious about where he's putting his trust, maybe putting Dobson in jail, right? Taking some action. You know, if you don't want to deal with the speed hacking by restricting clients, then you're going to have to do it manually, right? Throw the camera on, go out there and check up on things. It's just how it is. You know, I mentioned to I was bringing this up, that we don't need these people anyways, right? They're not really doing anything. If they're going to be speed hacking on day 2, you know, these are not your friends, Adam, right? Like, speed hacking on Macers on day 2 because they want to kill new players, basically. On the Siege Perilous rule set, where you can only progress so much in a 24-hour period, so everyone's running around on low-B characters. And so it's really easy to kill them with a Macer. New characters are a lot less likely to have things like food or refresh potions to refresh their stamina as it gets reduced by the Macer, right? So it obviously looked really bad, and just as a friend, you know, I had to bring that up to Adam. It really called into question, you know, whether or not Adam was putting his trust in the right people and into the right places. And, you know, at this time you can see the server population is still doing all right at the time, but numbers were falling off. They weren't growing anymore, and that's, you always wanted to be growing, right? Because you can't retain every player. So, you know, I lost my Discord privileges all of a sudden, and this is only a few days after launch. I had brought up the Dobson thing in staff chat. He didn't like that. So I said, oh, I see I lost my Discord privs, you know. I just want to say, like, said you'd make some time to help with the wiki, and he didn't. You know, that's true, because the whole last month got turned into, let's change the whole shard for these orcs fest, basically. And a lot of things got pushed behind, like finishing the wiki, polish, making sure everything was kosher. These guys didn't even build the world right. People were mentioning that the wiki wasn't done on Angel Island and stuff, and you know, he never came to say any, like, oh, you know, he just got here and it's a big load, you know, or anything. It just was, I just felt like I was getting thrown under the bus, and I have no history with Adamant, as opposed to somebody like Armorax, who's been his friend for 10 years, so in terms of favoritism, you know, loyalty to buddies over the shard, right? That's what favoritism really is. And, you know, he basically had came to me and said, there'd be no hard feelings 2 days before Christmas if you can't, you know, if you can't get it done right now, basically, or you'll get kicked. And I know you've been hanging out with Yor for like at least 10 years, right? But, you know, that's what I was dealing with anyways. And so, you know, he's saying that there'd be no hard feelings, but anyways, fast forward to you know, at this point where all of a sudden I've lost my staff privileges, and so it's just like, you know, it's kind of been a negative experience for me, despite me doing my best, and it's just how I feel, you know. You know, he's just like, you'll regain access if you wish when the drama stops. I mean, it's not drama when you're bringing up valid concerns, right? Staff speed hacking is a valid concern. It's very concerning, right? That kind of thing can ruin the shard immediately, right? So I was just speaking up now in private messages, and he's punishing me for that. He's taking away my Discord privs, right? So behind closed doors is where we're at now. It just kind of goes to show, I think, and you know, I was one of the favorites, right? I'm not really allowed to say anything, I guess. But losing privs here, it's basically you don't belong here, right? I was like, what drama? The staff that got speed hacking? I was right to bring that up in staff chat. As a result, other staff saw, they spoke up, and that's why I even said anything in there, right? I'm not going to spell it out for you. You know all the people that you've been calling out recently, including he's been your biggest advocate all along, as if I needed an advocate for anything. And he's really confused. I was like, I had to, Yor brought himself into this. Look what he said here. I was just basically saying, I was asking Adam to get rid of Snafu because I brought it by Yor, right? And, this is what he said. He said, imagine if Adam kicks Snap and then I leave. You sabotage the whole thing, right? Like, so I know they're all affiliated with each other, and the guy didn't do anything. How is it my fault if Adam kicks Snap and you choose to leave? You'd be sabotaging the shard, right? So, I even asked Snafu, like, what did you do, man? He's like, I brought the U Guild, right? So we know they're favorites, right? And I think that might be why we ended up with Pub 13.6, which really favors Dexers and punishes mages, and it's just all unprofessional. It's like, I'm not trying to make a wedge between you and Snafu. I'm just trying to point out that you're putting your trust in the wrong places. Armorax is a great example, and I was vindicated by Rexor seeing what I posted and mentioned that Armorax looked like he was speeding too, right? Right? So then Adam went off, behind my back to tell people that I was just speculating things or whatnot with the speeding, right? And we had 2 staff members mention, it looked like something was fishy there, right? So let's just show you this video here. This guy's name is Worm Von Sandro. This this mage guy's fighting him and recording. We got the cheat cam rolling on here, and let's take a look here at how this goes. Imagine if you're fighting somebody like this, and you just can't catch him. You just can't even get close to him. That's what it's like to fight someone who's cheating in PvP. Very dishonorable to cheat in PvP. Just breaks the whole. Why even play the game? Right? Go play something else. Go play in Trammel or something if you're scared to play, right? But look at how fast he's going, right? And no time to turn his character at all. Just no time at all. Just as if he's running straight, right? Worm Von Sander, yeah, you just can't catch him, and he's just doing this. It doesn't even seem like he's. Look at him take off like that. Like, it doesn't even seem like he's worried about being reported or banned, right? So that's something to take note of here. It's a little unusual that somebody's just like doing this anyways, harassing this mage guy, and in terms of favoritism, to have somebody out here doing like this, it just looks really bad, right? And anybody can see what's going on here. You're not speculating when you're saying this guy's cheating. It's not speculation, it's obvious. So you'd be thinking that this Worm Von Sander guy wouldn't exist after this video is shown to, staff or Adam. No, a month later, even I was still seeing him. I think he might have sped to PK me. They didn't loot my corpse, but it was in Destard. They caught me before I went to Destard level 2. They caught me in the run across, right? And I was just healing with bandages on the way, not casting spells or anything. Still caught after me before that. They didn't loot the corpse. It's like, loot the corpse. Just play normally, loot the corpse, ride the horses, orcs. The orcs just don't want to ride the horses, right? It's like these people just came for a different shard. And maybe they just knew that classic factions or whatever the staff are saying that the shard isn't really what it is. This is what the shard is, right? That's what it seems like, at least. ban the guy once you see the video. That's what you have to do. But that's not what happened. I kept seeing him there. He was there for like a month afterwards at least. Might still be around for all I know. You know, Rexor, I don't know her PvP background, but I don't think you really need to have one to know that this is speed hacking. It's obvious that this person is moving too fast, right? And, you know, 2 days into the server when she's saying that, you know, she might have seen Dobson and Armor Axe tune that. That's, you know, killing gargoyles for money for a house, right? That's what people are doing on day 2, so. Mage versus Wormbun cheat scum, that's right. So, that's how it all went down, and, you know, I guess that's pretty much it. When it comes to this favoritism shit, though, people hate it. I hate it. It ruins the game. Makes people not want to play anymore. I don't see anything wrong with, you know, me on Sagas asking about the false advertising. I don't see why that's such a big deal. I don't know why Owen's got to go around threatening guilds with, you know, everyone gets banned, or you have to ban this person or that person, right? That's not the role of the admin. There's only really one reason why they would do that. I think it's favoritism. Siege Perilous. I got banned because I was fighting those orcs. You know, just like Money Guild, interfering with PvP, the staff. All of a sudden, I'm fighting these orcs, and these orcs, they don't want to play the game normally. They don't want to play on mounts, so they're just getting wrecked by just one mounted person, killing all these orcs all the time. And all of a sudden, I'm getting knocked off my horse. There's nobody even on my screen. Over and over, I'm getting knocked off my horse, and all of a sudden, I'm in jail. And then all of a sudden, I'm in the roleplay jail. And then, you know, permanent ban. Just why interfere with the PvP, right? You know, we made this joke about these big bolas that they added for these orcs. You could throw it from inside your house, and it would fly a few screens away and knock any pesky mounted PvPers off their horse and into jail, and 50-50 chance of ban, you know, instead of stat loss, right? It's the same thing as what happened with the Money Guild. There should never be intervention on the field in PvP in that matter. It's just not how it works. If that's what's going on, I strongly think there's favoritism happening. And, you know, on a shard where even if they're restricting the client, if there's favoritism, you have to wonder what client that they're giving their buddies, right? That's always been an issue on UltimaOnline. It's just that some people needed to pick up the game manual instead of the Visual Basics textbooks, right? They really wanted to get that admiration from everybody, you know, whiz kids and such, that, you know, they just really really need to feel good about themselves so much that they make these sheets, and they don't care about you or the shard. All they care about is having people see them as they're good, you know, when they really just suck. They're too afraid to attack you, you know. Lord British's castle without their buddies or all their gear. Anyway, stay tuned for the next video. It's going to be really good. Subscribe if you haven't already. That's what really helps the channel. And I'll be bringing you lots more of this, because there's lots more of this going on.